The following is an AZPM original production.
For AZPM, I'm Mark McLemore, and this is Arizona Spotlight. Coming up, meet some artists from ArtWorks who joined with many others in our community to ask, "Won't you be my neighbor?" Learn how the Tucson Bird Alliance will be making a difference in 2025. And actor and playwright Fred Pitts shares his love for history and the inconvenience of being falsely recognized as virtually every black male celebrity when he's in public. Those stories are coming up next on Arizona Spotlight. In our first story, Sophia Hammer visits a gallery on the University of Arizona campus to see some creations from a group of artists who don't always get a say in how they are represented, but who have a lot to say about what they have to offer.
When Fred Rogers asked generations of American kids, "Won't you be my neighbor?" it was a polite introduction. As our culture and communities grow more diverse, it is an invitation to examine what sharing space might actually look like. The Joseph Gross Gallery recently invited several community partner groups to populate an exhibition called Won't You Be My Neighbor? One of the groups participating is ArtWorks, which is an all-day program for adults living with developmental disabilities. They were asked to imagine and then build models of their dream living spaces. To learn more about this project, I first spoke to Mari White.
Hi, I'm Mari White. I'm a student worker here at ArtWorks, but I'm also an art history major here at the U of A, and I'm enrolled in gallery management, which is a class that allows students in the School of Art to understand what it is like to work and own and curate in a gallery.
Was the idea for Won't You Be My Neighbor completely student-based? Was that a student idea?
It actually wasn't. This idea of Won't You Be My Neighbor was given to us, and we already knew who was going to be in the show because Lydia, the person who's in charge of the galleries, had been working with the other partners previously and had known them, but it came from her life as she's a person that has moved around a lot, so it really is what makes a person a good neighbor no matter where you live, no matter where you are. What do we see in our neighbors that makes it something that we can connect? I feel as though the students had a lot of opportunity to curate and sort of let our vision come to life within the space, but as students we sort of got to place the work and decide what works got put up.
Was that like a new experience for you? What did that process feel like?
Absolutely. It was such a new experience for me. I'd never curated anything before in my life besides my bedroom, which I've, got to decide where I hang the posters I have. But it was so interesting because a lot of the students in that class are studio majors. So they're making art and they're used to sort of understanding the wiring and how to hang art and what's required to hang art. And they have that creative vision of what they want their work to look like when it's displayed, but I've never done that. So it was so fascinating to get to be on that other side of thinking about, oh my gosh, how does this work get hung? What will look great next to it? What colors will be pulled from piece to piece? How will we see them interact?
You have an especially unique experience because you are a student worker at ArtWorks and you also curated this gallery. What was the process of watching the art being made and then placing it? How did that make you feel?
Honestly, that was a part where I feel like I was so emotional because I was working here over the summer for a few months, so I got to see them cut up the boxes and draw on paper what they wanted their houses to look like. I got to see the very early workings of the houses. I would go to places trying to collect things for them, and I would always bring in paper towel rolls when I was finished with them at my house so they could have these other materials to use. Having that little moment of seeing the houses be built and then taking that time where I wasn't here over the summer and then coming back and getting to see them in the gallery, it was just, oh my gosh. I honestly got chills, I think, the first time because it was just so heartwarming to see their work come to fruition in this way that was so meaningful for them. It was a really awesome experience. It is coined in our minds as the happiest place on campus.
I was able to meet 3 of the talented artists from ArtWorks, Brad Biddlecombe, Abby Love, and Victoria Pisano. Each brought a unique creativity to the project.
My name's Brad. Brad, and I'm Diane, and I run the Pink Studio at ArtWorks.
I'm Abigail Love.
Hi, my name is Victoria Pisano.
What does your house that you made mean to you?
Movies.
You made yours on a movie. What was the movie?
The Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
I made a birdhouse with paper mache and cardboard and a long paper towel with a cardboard box in the bottom. It's based off Animal Crossing.
Victoria Pisano chose to create a model of a place that is very close to her heart, one of the studios on the ArtWorks campus.
It's my second home at ArtWorks. I built it out of clay. I made the building of ArtWorks.
And how does your house show everyone how to be a good neighbor?
ArtWorks is my second family. I make new friends at ArtWorks, and I want my art to show that.
What's your favorite art to make?
Faces.
Brad likes to draw faces.
Friends, women help me. Faces.
He likes to draw faces of the people he loves.
Yes,
I'm making watercolor.
I like to do oil painting. I did an oil painting of the Phantom of the Opera.
What was your favorite part about building your house?
A newspaper.
Newspaper.
My favorite part is building out of mache and cardboard boxes and paint. Red, white, and light brown.
Putting it all together, I had to carve it. I was the only one who made a clay house.
What do you want people to think or feel when they see your house?
Happy.
I want them to love it, and I hope I can give you the tour of ArtWorks.
Do you like working with other artists at ArtWorks? What is your favorite part about it?
My friends like all jazz.
You like to do art with your friends.
Yeah. Teachers.
With the teachers.
Yes, I like working with Phoebe. I colored in Phoebe's painting with watercolor.
And you and Phoebe drew each other, is that right?
She drew my portrait.
I make new friends at ArtWorks, and the art show and the gallery show face to face, and I did it with my new friends here at the class.
Yumi Shirai has been the director at ArtWorks since 2011. She talked about how the University of Arizona community played an important role in this project and the artists' lives.
Having our artists presented in a community exhibition like this exhibition, Want to Be a Neighbor, we are very grateful, but it only built upon our long-lasting relationship among the university community. So we collaborate with the University of Arizona Fine Arts Department, especially for the visual arts programs, and also UAMA, the museum. We've been collaborating for the last several years, and some friends comes up naturally from the museum or school and say hi to us. So our artists and us ourselves feels very confident and comfortable. This is part of our neighborhood for our artists. So they feel comfortable, they belong here. So that really gives them confidence and then also agency to how they want to express themselves to be part of this community. So they are not just invited, but they know they belong here to be part of the community.
The whole goal of the exhibit was the themes are belonging and notions of home and stewardship. I kind of want you to talk about how those themes also are themes here at ArtWorks.
To be part of ArtWorks community, we have two kind of criteria. One is you love to create. So the creative passion, whatever the media, or any kind of crafting, even just like this, Sophie, the crafting stories, it can be a fantastic creative outlet. That's one criteria. So someone who loves to express or create something can belong here. and then also someone who like to contribute to the community. So all the artists who comes here contribute to the education of university, the mission as well. So they visit classes, share their own life and disabilities, share lived experience with disabilities and how it like, and how other professionals should understand from their voices, and a deeper understanding of how the other community can support each other. At the same time, they also share how arts can be a strong tool to navigate our lifelong challenges.
I think I've heard it 2 or 3 times now that this is coined the happiest place on campus.
They're pointing out the happiest place here, and I think it's also sometimes we separate from our academic side with the head, right? Head-heavy knowledge gathering, separate from the actual hands-on experience. And I think that's just the connector of those things happening in the academic world that ArtWorks can capture in more tangible way. I think that's a fantastic place for all, from faculty to students and the clients. So we can be a mutual partner in our community.
The Won't You Be My Neighbor exhibition, including creations by ArtWorks, is on display at the Joseph Gross Gallery on the U of A campus through December 20th. To see some of the houses that were made by the ArtWorks artists, you can visit the Arizona Spotlight page at azpm.org. For Arizona Spotlight, I'm Sophia Hammer.
Building a recognizable name, logo, or message is a very important marketing tool for all types of organizations. However, one well-known environmental group in Arizona is making a name change after more than 70 successful years. The Tucson Audubon Society is transitioning to Tucson Bird Alliance in 2025. It's part of a growing trend across the country. Tony Paniagua attended the new name reveal party and has more on the story.
A 20-acre site known as Tucson Audubon's Mason Center is home to a lush Sonoran desert habitat with stately saguaros, ironwood trees with broad canopies, and many other native plants. Dozens of species of birds have been recorded here, and this property northwest of Tucson is where Tucson Audubon revealed its new name last week to about 100 donors, members, and staff. They're here as part of an annual gathering where they discuss past accomplishments and future plans.
My name is Luke Safford. I'm the Director of Engagement for Tucson Bird Alliance.
And that's a new name.
It is a new name. I had to catch myself and make sure that I said the right thing. It used to be Tucson Audubon, and we just unveiled our new name, Tucson Bird Alliance, today, and it's going to be a slow rollout coming out in January of next year. The process started about almost 2 years ago when talk of changing our name, removing the Audubon name, which can be confusing to people, also has connotations, of just the past history of John James Audubon. And so we went through the process of talking with our board, talking with our community, and decided that changing our name to something that made sense with the people that we work with, Tucson Bird Alliance, it's easy to know what we work with. We work with birds.
What were some of the concerns with continuing with the name Audubon?
Yeah, so there's a number of different concerns with that. Probably the main one is that really the past few years, people are becoming more aware of the past history of people. And really there's no one that's perfect. So you dig into anyone's past, you're going to find things that may not sit well with everyone. In this case of John James Audubon, not only was he a slaveholder, but had a lot of racist tendencies, and so we wanted to, in some way, distance ourselves from that. A lot comes with the name. We want to have a name that people not just are comfortable with, but that we can be proud of. For as much as I've grown up with being part of Audubon, it's okay to remove that because our mission stays the same. Our mission is to inspire people, protect, and enjoy birds. Why not have that word bird actually in our name so that people know what our mission is about? Makes more sense than having someone's name in it.
I also caught up with Melissa Fratello, the executive director of Tucson Bird Alliance. She says removing Audubon was a given, but another name created a bigger challenge. This one involves the Alliance's location and its service region, which is much broader than the Tucson metropolitan area.
We decided on the Bird Alliance name fairly early on because so many other chapters throughout the country have adopted that, and we still wanted to maintain that sense of being within a network of organizations across the country working toward bird conservation. So that part was easy for us. All of those other chapters did all of the hard work to come to that place, identifying as Bird Alliance, which is great because it defines, people coming together to celebrate and protect birds. But our geographic identifier was a tough one for us because we do serve all of Southeast Arizona. We work in Cochise County and in Santa Cruz County and Pima County. But people have known us as Tucson Audubon Society for so long. They understand that we work beyond the borders of Tucson, but this is really where our heart is. So we've stuck with the Tucson geographic identifier, but we're part of the greater Tucson, Southeast Arizona community.
And you also got rid of society.
We got rid of society. Society implies something exclusive, and we want to be as inclusive as possible. We want everyone in Southeast Arizona to love and enjoy birds, and Alliance is a much more welcoming and inclusive name to express that.
Moving forward, it seems like you're already excited about the new name. You're not shedding any tears over the previous name.
No, we're really excited, and I think it's going to be difficult for us to get used to because we've had this name for 75 years.
Some people might say, why change the name? John James Audubon died in 1851. Why not run the same programs under Tucson Audubon Society?
So often, when we're introducing ourselves to people outside of our immediate birding community, no one knows what the heck we do when we say we work for Tucson Audubon Society. And now when we say we work for Tucson Bird Alliance, right away they're going to understand what we do and what we care about. It'll just be... It's representative of us moving in a new direction with our programming and being really intentional about making our work, our programs, our services more inclusive and accessible to the community. In and of itself, yes, a name change could just be performative, but we plan to put the work behind it.
Tucson is just the latest birding group with Audubon in its name that has decided to drop that name that is controversial among some circles. Other new names include Birds Connect Seattle, the Bird Alliance of Oregon and Portland, New York City Bird Alliance, formerly NYC Audubon, and Detroit, Chicago, and Madison, Wisconsin, all incorporating Bird Alliance as well. In Tucson, leaders such as Luke Safford say a change at the top would have helped the movement and consistent messaging and identity across the country.
Like I said, this all started for us a couple of years ago, and that's when National Audubon started working towards figuring out whether they were going to change their name or not, and they decided not to. That's their prerogative. It's okay. And we'll still be affiliated with them. It's just that we won't share that same namesake of Audubon anymore. We'll still share that same mission of birds. We're an independent, autonomous chapter of National Audubon. There's not really a financial thing back and forth. It's a mission-related partnership, and also just name recognition was part of that. We will lose that to an extent, but hopefully we can continue to move forward with that partnership because we have the same mission.
The transition is more complicated than it may seem since it also involves insurance and IRS documents, bank accounts, business cards, brochures, and other items. The group also says the website should be fully updated by April. And in case you're wondering, the familiar bright red and black logo, the vermilion flycatcher, isn't going anywhere. This attractive little bird is keeping its prime position on its perch moving forward. For Arizona Spotlight, I'm Tony Paniagua.
In addition to spreading the new name on social media through emails and its quarterly magazine, representatives from Tucson Bird Alliance will attend major events in person in 2025. These include the Wings Over Wilcox Birding and Nature Festival in January, the Tubac Hawk Watch in March, and a spring fundraiser known as Birdathon. For more information, you can find a link on our website at azpm.org on the Arizona Spotlight page. Years ago, I was at a science fiction convention watching Billy D. Williams talk about his career. At one point, an exchange occurred that I will never forget. An older guy, who happened to be white, raised his hand to ask Billy D. Williams about being in Rocky. Politely, Williams told him that wasn't him. It was actually his friend Carl Weathers, and then he moved on with the Q&A. While many members of the audience experienced a major cringe moment, it turns out that kind of thing actually happens all the time. Just ask Fred Pitts, a busy stage actor in California who has a passion for history. He recently decided to challenge himself to personally visit each of the California missions. While taking what Pitts described as his geek's road trip, he started being noticed, and many people felt the need to tell him what male black celebrity they thought Fred Pitts resembled, including Richard Roundtree, Will Smith, Barry Bonds, even Barack Obama. Fred Pitts is bringing a one-man show that he created from this experience to the Invisible Theater in Tucson this weekend. The show is called Aren't You? And I spoke with Fred Pitts about the story he has to tell.
I don't take it as an insult. I never did with any of these people on the missions. There's a book out called Bias by a woman named Jennifer Eberhardt. She's a professor at Stanford, and she just talks about the biases we have, which are not necessarily bigoted or racist. It's just who we are. There was an example of a young black person, it might have been her, in an all-white school, and how she would get the white girl students confused. She would think they all kind of looked very similar, which I thought was a fascinating thing. The whole book is just about how we're used to what our environment is. You know, if you're in a black school with all black kids, we are very good at knowing who's who. But as soon as you step outside and you're in a world that's completely different, like a school full of white young people or Asians or whatever, we have less capacity to differentiate. And that's true with all of us, apparently. It's a fascinating book I tell people to look at. It's when I read it, I thought, that's fascinating to find out. Because I don't think people are being mean. May not be right, but I'm not looking at me through their eyes.
For all the times that this has happened to you, where you've been in this awkward social situation, how many times has it been a person of color misidentifying you?
It doesn't happen that often. In the show, I talk about one guy who thought it was a friend he was supposed to play tennis with, but he wasn't wearing his glasses, so that kind of doesn't count. It was still funny, but not that often.
Did you have any important experiences in your own school life that you look back on now? I mean, even before you were an actor, although I understand you started doing stage work at a very early age.
I did, yeah.
Did you have that problem with identity in school?
I'm sure I did, if I thought back on it. In grade school, there were a couple teachers who would mistake the 3 or 4 other black guys in my class and call me Sean or Jay, and we don't look anything alike, but that did happen.
Fred, will you tell our audience when you started developing this one-man show?
I'm a history geek, and I've known about the missions forever, and living in San Francisco, people kept talking about them, and I kept driving by the one in San Francisco called Mission Dolores, and so I, at one point, saw one on a wine trip and thought it was cool, and thought, well, I'll just see these missions. So one summer, I decided to do a pilgrimage just to see all of them. And this is early on in social media era, but like around 10 years ago, thereabout. And as I would visit a mission, somebody would say something like that. You look like whatever. And the first time I didn't think anything of it. And then it happened the second and third time. And so then I started posting it on social media. And I had friends who kept chiming in with, okay, so what happened today? Who did you think you were? And it just kept happening and kept happening. And once I was done, there were 2 friends specifically. And they both said, you need to make this into a solo show. And I am not a solo performer. Never written a play in my life. I've seen a lot of shows. God bless them, more power to them. No thanks. But the summer after I got married, which was 2017, I said, we're not doing theater because I just got married, so maybe I'll start thinking about it. And there's a incubator in San Francisco called The Marsh, which is, I think, known nationally. It's one of the most well-known places to start solo performance. And they have classes taught by a man named David Ford, who's the guru of solo performance that's creating and performing your own art. So I pulled down all the social media posts and put them into a Word file. Took him to class first night and said, I've got an idea. I don't know if this will work. So I just read off what happened. And David just kind of sat back and said, yeah, that needs to be a show. Let's work on that. So for about a year in classes, we put that show together.
It's interesting to me how 2 very different sides of your personality came together in this project. Where did your interest in history first coalesce?
I was 7. My parents bought the World Book Encyclopedia. I looked at it and pulled out letter E because it was the smallest one. Opened it up and there was a picture of every British monarch. Started reading through that. I went from A to Z and read all the history stuff, and it just started from there.
When you talk about Spanish missions, this is a topic that I know nothing about. About how many separate locations are you talking about visiting as you do this tour?
There were 21 in California.
What is it that appeals to you most about visiting these historic sites? The architecture, the art, the religious iconography? You tell me.
Yes. It's all of it.
Okay.
As a history person, I love seeing old buildings. I love delving into the history of the building. I love old ideas to see how people thought at the time and how it's changed or hasn't changed.
Can you share with us a useless mission factoid?
I'll give you one.
Okay.
There's a mission basically near San Jose. It's called Mission Santa Clara. And the bells in the tower of that new mission church have rung every evening at 8:30 since 1798. They just saved the bell. And as they kept redoing the church, they would just put the bell in and the bell would ring.
The number one vibe that I get off of you is someone who's been lucky enough to combine all these disparate parts of your history and your personality together. You know, you're married to an actress. You're both active in the Palo Alto Players and other California arts groups.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is great that you're able to stay active in the field that you love, share it with the woman that you love, and bring this show, which obviously comes from a lot of hard work and a little bit of suffering, but also big smile on your face.
Big smile. I just love the audience reaction because it's nice to get people interested in history. It's also nice to get people to think about the way they behave and how they interact with people. And, you know, the big thing I tell people about this show is you laugh, you cringe, you think. Come see the show, enjoy yourself, have a good time, because I will have a great time telling you. I really will.
Fred Pitt's one-man show is called Aren't You? And it will be at the Invisible Theater in Tucson, December 12th through the 15th. The Patronato San Javier is a community partner for the play's run, and in case you were wondering, they did give Fred Pitts a tour of the Mission San Javier del Bac. No word yet on whether Fred was recognized while he was there. Thank you for listening to Arizona Spotlight. This show is a production of AZPM. The production engineer is Jim Blackwood. Production assistance by Sophia Hammer. I'm producer and host Mark McLemore.
AZPM podcasts are made possible in part by donations from listeners like you. Learn more at support.azpm.org. Thank you.